Hello, friends. It is Sunday, and it's time to talk politics. Welcome to Politics Unplugged. I'm Tony Kovaleski, and Trujillo has the week off. Now, there's lots to talk about, and we begin with big news this week from inside Denver City Hall. Months after Contact 7 Investigates exposed Denver mayor's sexually explicit texts to a respective detective and a former member of his security detail, Mayor Michael Hancock's office has announced a new policy calling for outside investigations into any complaints filed against the mayor of Denver. That new policy was officially announced on Monday, nearly 6 months after the scandal broke here on Denver 7. Now, that same day, Denver City Council approved new workplace conduct policies for council members, their employees, and advisors. Before our investigation, there was no system to discipline high-level city officials for misconduct. But after Detective Leslie Branchwise courageously broke her silence, secrets she kept inside for years, now City Hall has made changes.
In your mind, are you sure you were sexually harassed by the mayor?
I'm positively sure I was sexually harassed by the mayor.
No doubts?
No doubts.
He crossed the line?
Yes.
What do you say to those that may not believe what you're saying?
I would say that I wouldn't come forward if I didn't have proof. There were times that he said I looked sexy and that I would make it hard for him to concentrate.
Should Mayor Hancock resign?
I'm not doing this because I want him to resign. Should he resign? I just don't think he should treat people this way. He shouldn't make someone with absolutely no power who's just trying to do the right thing be afraid.
For the first time since changes were announced at City Hall, Detective Leslie Branchwise and her attorney, Sean Lane, are joining us today to talk about the significant development. Detective, let's begin with you. Please share your reaction. Obviously, a lot has happened since we first sat down back in February. You got the news, changes happened at City Hall. Share your thoughts.
My coming forward took a lot of courage on my end to do so. So to see that I've brought about change is a good thing. How much change it is and the real changes are to be seen.
Sean, you're Detective Branchwise's attorney. Give us perspective here, but first, before we talk about that, when you see an attorney sitting next to somebody, I think some people first ask and consider, well, you guys were in this for the money. This was never about any more money, because fact is, the settlement that happened, there is no more money on the table.
That's correct, Tony. You know, this is a situation where the entire case, from my perspective, was really just assisting Detective Branchwise in navigating through the administrative and media situation that arose after she came forward courageously with her story.
Sean, give us perspective. What did Detective Branchwise's courage, the challenge, the stepping forward, what ultimately has it exposed and what has it brought for Denver?
Well, I think it exposed a real hole in the city's policies. You know, we talk about cities that have strong mayors. Well, we discovered through the process that Denver really had a system where we had an untouchable mayor, a mayor who really couldn't be reached through an investigation. One of the things that Detective Branchwise had wanted throughout this entire process was simply a transparent investigation, and that never happened. We hope that these new policies will allow for that to happen in the future, and I think that would be a great thing for the city.
Detective Branchwise, coming forward was not easy. It wasn't your first instinct. Let's back up and talk about that. What made you come forward and talk to us, and now that it's in the rearview mirror, did you make the right decision?
I go back and forth from time to time wondering if I made the right decision or if I just should have held on to my silence and not said anything. There's times when I believe that I'm scrutinized more than others, officers on the department, and there's a lot of questions of why now and why would she do that and why did she keep the text and those kinds of things. But the real issue is they were my texts to keep. I received those texts inappropriately, and I could keep them if I wanted to. I could keep them for 20 years if I wanted to. And it was just something that haunted me for so many years, over the years. And I just wanted to expose it. I wanted to come out of the closet, so to say, and come out of being afraid and expose what was done to maybe help someone else who had been living with a secret for such a long time.
Well, and you brought the issue to the forefront, and we took it to Mayor Hancock. And let's share a portion of our interview. It was a 15-minute interview shortly after we let the mayor's office know what you shared with us. And here's how the mayor responded back in February.
I do not believe that my interaction with her was sexual harassment. We were friends. I blurred the lines, and that's why I'm apologizing today.
I've heard you apologize multiple times, but I think you've drawn a line in the sand and said you didn't sexually harass her. Is that what you're saying?
I am saying I did not sexually harass her. My text exchanges with her blurred the line between being a friend and a boss. I made a mistake. I'm human. I never purport to be perfect. I don't judge people against a perfect barometer. But let me lean in, accept responsibility, and know that as long as I'm in this office, I'm going to continue to give everything I have, and that I will not do anything to repeat these type of errors in the future.
So that was Mayor Hancock back in February. Detective Branchwise, you heard him apologize, take responsibility, but we talked multiple times. Mayor Hancock said he never crossed the line and sexually harassed you. You've taken it to a different perspective. You believe it was harassment. In light of what happened on Monday, in light of the fact that City Hall has made changes, both on the council side and on the mayor's side, what does it now say to you?
It doesn't take away the fact that I still believe that it was sexual harassment. And the onus needs to be on the sender of the text, not the keeper of the texts. And it's nice that they have enacted a change. However, City Council at the time could have learned a lot more about what I went through as opposed to just the text. It's a combination of all the things, the aid, the inappropriate text, the inappropriate things said in my presence. It was all those things that City Council wasn't willing to learn at the time, but maybe someone in the future who goes through this, they'd be willing to learn.
And Detective, when we first talked, one of the motivations you shared with me, you have daughters, and you felt that if they face something like this in the future, you wanted them to have the courage to come forward. Looking again into the rearview mirror, and now we're 6 months since we talked, satisfaction that you've set an example for your girls and for women throughout the metro area, throughout the state?
When I experience hardships because of coming forward, when I think back to some of the good things that I did with this, it makes me really happy, like my daughters looking up to me. And I just had a woman yesterday while working off duty come up to me and literally cry and tell me that she was proud. She recognized me and she wished she had come forward with something that she was holding inside of her several years ago. So I believe that it was a good thing.
Sean, looking at this now from your vantage point, from when it started, from where we are, what do you think the long-term impact of Detective Branchwise's courage, her words, her statements, and she just admitted the pain she's had to go through. What do you see the long-term effect, the long-term impact?
Tony, the long-term impact here, I think, is that we have seen a real change. The change appears to be a positive one, and I think we're going to have to see how the process works in the future. But the policies that have come into effect, I don't think they would have come into effect without Leslie. And I think this shows how a citizen of Denver can come forward and make real change.
So we're going to wrap up this portion. But Detective, there are probably other people out there that may face the same situation, that same dynamic you did. What's your message to other women out there, other people out there that are deciding whether they want to come forward with a secret or keep it inside? You've now lived it.
There are times when I am afraid still, and when I feel like I'm fighting a giant all by myself. But underneath it all, I did the right thing. And I have people who are very supportive of me and people who I care about who have said the same thing. And that's the most important, that I did the right thing.
Detective?
Thank you.
Thank you. Sean, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, Tony.
Stay with us. Politics Unplugged will continue. We plug into key ballot issues when we return.